Welcome to the Essentra Health podcast series. I'm your host, Yeji Lee. In this series, we bring you helpful information to support your well-being and to overcome the many challenges that life can bring. Our aim is to bring you information or actions to support your well-being that can be accessible to everybody. Today, we are following up on our previous podcast on the impact of social media on mental health, and we'll be discussing how social media affects children and adolescents, as well as tips to help parents navigate setting safe boundaries surrounding their children's social media usage. Our guest today is Norman Weiniger, Vice President of Clinical Services at Essentra Health and licensed mental health practitioner with many years of experience working in the mental health field. To start off, can you talk a bit about the prevalence of social media in the lives of children and teenagers today and how ingrained it is in modern society as a whole?
Yes, there's a lot of information about that issue. It's really an interesting time, I think, Yeji, because this is all a new territory to both young people and parents. It's rapidly changing, and it really behooves parents to stay abreast of these developments and be tuned in to their children's use of social media. There's a few statistics I saw from the Pew research study on social media, and they include information that tells us just how prevalent social media use is among teens and children. For example, 77% of teens reported that they use YouTube every day. Excuse me, and majority use TikTok every day. About half used Instagram daily. Another interesting statistic was over a third of teens acknowledge that they spend too much time each day on social media. I thought a couple of other sort of alarming statistics. 46% of parents of teens said that they're highly worried about their children's exposure to explicit content on social media, which can be available to them. 67% of teens say they know how to hide online behavior from their parents. And 43% of them said they would change their online behavior if they knew their parents were watching them. So there's a lot of statistics that the researchers have uncovered, Yeji, that shows the depth of usage of social media, the concerns even that teens have about their usage, and certainly the concerns about their from their parents. And there's a lot of research still going on about the long-term effects of social media on the behavior of the developing minds of children and teenagers. And I think all this just points to the fact that we parents have to be proactive in this age to keep up with the changes that are going on in social media and with their children's behaviors, so as that we can do what we can do to prevent them from the potential dangers of social media.
Thanks, Norman. Those are definitely some very interesting stats. I know we discussed in our previous podcast the wide range of mental health issues that excessive use of social media can cause. But more specifically, can you elaborate today on the ways that social media use in children and adolescents can have on their mental health and their well-being?
Yes, I think a major one is around the issue of self-worth. Self-worth. You know, we all are listening to this today or have been teenagers. And I think we can all relate to this, how our self-image and our feelings of self-worth are formed to a large degree as teenagers, and in our developing minds and brains at that phase of our life, and that the excessive use of social media has a big potential to affect our sense of self-worth, as well as other aspects such as our impulse control and our regulation of our emotions. We have to realize that as teenagers, their brains are not fully developed. Self-control is not a strength of teenagers, and it's very easy for them to become excessive users of social media because of this kind of inherent lack of self-control that occurs during our teenage years. There are some, of course, benefits to social media that we have spoken about elsewhere, and some of them that we can mention today include the ability of teens to have a safe space for self-expression. Now, to your point, excessive use, and there are some studies that define that as over 3 hours a day of social media exposure to teens, have found in that instance that those teens faced twice the risk of having negative mental health outcomes. And that was a study of teens who had 3 hours or more every day of social media interaction. It does put them at risk for negative mental health outcomes. Another risk are around adolescents accessing harmful or inappropriate content. Another major issue is around body image, the increasing prevalence of eating disorders among teens suggests there may be some relationship between social media usage and those types of concerns, and it gets to having unrealistic expectations of body types that can contribute to that distress and to this distorted sense of self. Sadly, there are extreme cases that we hopefully rarely hear about, but we hear about, where social media seems to have contributed to self-harm activities, including in some extreme cases to suicides as a result of social media interaction. So those are fortunately rare, but there are a lot of risks out there for parents to be aware of, and it heightens the importance of parents keeping on top of developments in social media and monitoring their children's use of social media.
Thanks, Norman. Just going off of those points that you just mentioned, and I know that it's certainly easy for us to say, but can be difficult for parents to do, but what are some ways that parents or caretakers can manage the use of social media by their children?
Sure. Let's talk about some concrete things that can be done. And as you say, like a lot of things about parenting, it's they're all easier said than done. Nonetheless, these are challenges that we have as parents and part of our responsibilities to our children and to ourselves. One concrete thing is to set time limits, set screen time limits for children. Determine what age your child should start having access to social media. Look at the parental controls over content in the social media platforms that adolescents have access to. Make sure that the social media is not contributing to unhealthy sleep patterns. We've talked before about limiting social media usage before sleep. Kind of an ongoing thing that parents, I think, can do is to keep a healthy line of communication and discussion about social media with your teens, just as you would about other important issues that are going on in their lives or in the life of your family. Parents, I think, also have to give themselves some grace and understand that no one is perfect. We will make mistakes about managing social media and discussing it with our children. But all of them present opportunities for us to dialogue and to make change and learn lessons from it. Another concrete suggestion I've read about frequently, Yeji, is having your children to share their social media passwords. That can be good not only to monitor their social media use, but to have them in case of emergencies or dangerous situations. One other important thing that parents can do, I think, is remember your role model. So model what you would like to see in your children and do some self-examination of your own use of social media. Make sure that you're setting a good role model. Finally, I probably should mention some signs to look for in your child about using social media to see if their usage is starting to get into an unhealthy area. And some things to look for, therefore, would be, is social media interfering with their daily responsibilities? Are they choosing social media over in-person interactions? Is it interfering with their sleep? Are they experiencing cravings to check social media? Are they lying or being deceptive about the time that they spend online? If you see those kind of things going on, I would suggest that you seek out resources to help manage that behavior and to determine courses of action. Sometimes starting with your employee assistance program can be a good starting point for that type of path. And finally, I would just encourage parents, as I said, to give themselves some grace, be patient, continue to be educated about what's going on in the social media world and what the dangers are. And as all good parents, keep connected with your children and understand them and what their behaviors and keep those good channels of communication going with children about this and other important issues. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Norman. That's, very important information. I think everyone, especially parents, I hope learned a lot today. And with that, we conclude today's podcast. On behalf of everyone here at Essentra Health, thank you for listening.